Continuing on with the short bearing removal series, today we're going to be removing the bearings in a BSB bearing arrangement. That's any component where the bearings are arranged bearing, spacer, bearing. And if you want more details, and there are more details, go check out a video I just posted on YouTube called Remove All Bearings with a Bearing Press. BSBs can be found in hubs, free hubs, suspension seat posts, and even that little BSB in the horse pivot near the rear axle. These are all BSBs, and they can also be arranged where both bearings are removed one from each side or both bearings come out one side. Generally, you deal with them the same way. Today I'm going to demonstrate on BSB arrangements where the bearing spacer does not move off to the side. See, the thing about BSBs is that usually the bearing inner diameters are the same, which means you can't insert a standard bearing press piece to remove the opposite side bearing. So you need a special tool piece. When the spacer doesn't move, this is a great job for the alt extractor. This tool piece goes into the bearing and expands to grab the bearing. When it expands, a tiny little lip grabs the back side of the bearing in the gap between the bearing and any spacer or anything that sits behind it. This method grabs the bearing really securely and won't damage the bearing spacer or whatever that sits behind it. To build the tool, choose the alt extractor that corresponds with the bearing inner diameter. Adjust the retaining ring to set the depth of the alt extractor to be the same as the bearing width. This way the little lip lands in the right place. Then choose suitable leveraging pieces on the same side of the bike component. To assemble the tool, insert the alt extractor and tighten it to expand the lip into the gap. Position the leverage pieces. Make sure everything is nice and square. Then turn the alt extractor to remove the bearing. Once you remove the first bearing, you are left with a single pivot bearing arrangement, and you know how to remove that from the first video. This is a great method that also works on single pivots that have double stacked bearings, and even though that little BSB spacer in the horse pivot may move off to the side, the alt extractor works great on that too. Really, the alt extractor can be used to grab any bearing in a simple pivot or BSB bearing arrangement.